thing on? Hello. Alright guys, so this is a much needed update on the Jeep. I was just scrolling through my YouTube channel there of all of about one, maybe two videos, and I've seen some comments. Some people was like, hey, what kind of updates? It's been like a year since I posted anything, so hasn't been any updates. I've worked on it. Don't get me wrong, I spent a couple hours here or there on it, but haven't really made any content on it. So other than like Snapchat, I post every time I work on it, I post on my Snapchat. So if you're on my Snapchat, you get to see it. If not, if you come through my garage at any point for family gatherings, you see a Jeep in the garage that looks like a bomb went off under it. But yeah, let's get this show downstairs in the garage and let's go take a look at it. All right, well, here she is in all of her glory. So, I mean, not a lot's changed, but a lot. I don't remember exactly where we was at last time, the last video I made of this old girl. So, let's start at the front, work our way back. Here we have a 1994 5.9 liter 12 valve Cummins turbocharged with the P7100 P pump. So yeah, that's her. So we actually stole the hold on, let's start right here. So coilover towers. Here we've just got some Barnes coilover towers. These were not quite tall enough for my 14 or 16 inch, I can't remember, I think it was 14 inch coilovers. So I had to add just a little bit of material. I don't know if you can see at the bottom there, the sides there. So this isn't finished, everything is just tacked into place. The tower is indeed tacked in. She's not moving nowhere, but I've got to cut these tacks out and then finish. I got to cut all this back apart, bevel it all, weld it all out fully, so that way I don't have no breakage in any of it. And then bring this tower back in. I'm actually going to make some gussets for the front and back also. Sorta like this side over here. This side has already been welded up and is just sitting here pretty freely. I've got to get that back in place. And looking at this dash AN20 fitting, this is for my coolant. So I ordered a oversized radiator for this thing, hoping that it'll keep the 12 valve cool, which I think it will. And a bunch of these AN fittings. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to cut these bungs off the radiator, TIG weld in these dash 20 fittings here, and as well as here. We're going to cut this off, clean that up, weld that in there. I'm probably actually going to have another one made because this one fits inside there just a little bit. So we're going to get those welded on to run some AN lines for the coolant. And as far as the intercooler, I don't think I'm going to run an intercooler right off the get-go. I mean, I would like to eventually get an intercooler up front. I think for now I'm just going to run a non-intercooled system for just the time being. Honestly, I think what I'm going to end up doing is pulling this motor out and P-pumping, taking the P-pump off that one, put it on this 24 valve here that's significantly lower miles. Actually, the miles on this one is unknown. I bought this from a guy who had it sitting on a wooden block in his shop. So I pretty much bought it for the P-pump. I paid about what you would pay for the motor for a P-pump. So I didn't really lose a whole lot, but it does have a very small amount of blow-by. Not a lot, but a little bit. So there she is. I can't remember if I showed you guys before, but she is now 4-linked. I went with the wide open designs, aluminum links, upper and lower. I think they're 2.5 down low and 2 inch up top. We've got the PSC full hydraulic steering here with the Barnes weld-on knuckles to the, whatever you want to call that thing. I just had a brain fart. But yeah, so we've still got to get our gears and lockers front and back, and get our coilovers mounted for the front here. And the back, same thing, 4-linked with the wide open design links. But I've actually got our coilovers mounted in here. So let me take you to the other side. I think I've got a light laying on this wheel here. Huh. How convenient is that? Wham, look at there. It's almost like I had to shoot this video twice. Yeah, so our rear towers, though, are actually Frenched into the frame. I don't know if you can see them or not, but I had to cut a significant amount of the frame out. So there is still a back plate to the frame here, but I tried every which way possible. I went through 2 sets of these towers trying to keep from cutting the frame at all. I bought a set, and then I cut the tower out to sort of sit over the frame. Here, actually, she's over here. You can sort of see, cut some out, sort of set it over the frame, real similar to the way the front is now. I couldn't get it to work for nothing. I mean, I kept having issues with fitment and rubbage and clearance, so I eventually had to cut the frame out, move that tower, that coilover way in, and now I've just got enough clearance. So at full flex, I've got like maybe a 1/2 inch of clearance from my tire to my shock. And then at full droop, the shock only, I mean, it might have a 1/4 inch between the spring and the coilover tower. So I never knew how aggravating it would be to try to do that. The front, oh, no problem at all. I mean, I just pretty much threw those in there where I thought they looked good at. Ran through the flex cycle, everything cleared perfectly. The back, on the other hand, I guess just because the frame is so much narrower or so much wider back there, Jesus, Murphy, it was heck, let me tell you. So, and I'm sure you guys know, these aren't actually going to stay out here. I'm going to flip the coilovers around. They're going to come through these holes here, and I'm eventually going to put a cage on here, and then these are going to mount to the bar, probably the same bar that's going to mount the seat belts. At some point or another, we're going to do some racing seats with 4-point harnesses. So that's where these reservoirs will go then. As far as the pedal assemblies and everything, these come straight out of the old Dodge, the 2nd gen outside there. The red one that 24 valve came out of, actually, not this 12 valve, but the 24 valve out there. So I pretty much just cut out my firewall and tack welded in a new piece of firewall, like just 16 gauge metal over there. Drilled some holes, mounted this on there, and yeah, I built this tube here for just some bracketry really to put the steering wheel and stuff on. So that is mounted in there nicely now. Give the brake pedals some, something to really attach to other than just firewall. So now she's pretty stiff. So now the only thing I got left to do right around here is a lot of work, but mainly just get this this trans tunnel and everything finished up. Firewall, got to get all that closed in. Got to fabricate up a dash. And yeah, I mean, it's still a ton of work. And honestly, I work on it a little here, a little there. I've got to get this installed somewhere. Really finding room on a Jeep, I didn't think it would be this difficult. Like, you run into fitment issues everywhere. So like right here, you can see I've got about, I don't know, a 1/2 inch of clearance between my brake booster and the P-pump there, maybe a 1/2 inch. So this motor does a whole lot of rocking. We're probably going to have some rubbage there. Here, I had to take the bolts out because there's no way this is sitting here. I mean, no way possible. So I'm going to have to fabricate that up, just come straight out over. Not going to be able to use that intake horn. What else is it? It's just always something there. It's just, everything is so tight. So I really don't know where we're going at with our air dog yet. I mean, I guess if we use this 12 valve, we may just use the factory mounted block pump over there. As far as the battery, I was sort of looking at this last night. I think I'm going to put the battery underneath this seat here. You can sort of see the way the floor pan is. It sort of comes up, humps over right here. So I may actually cut this out. Let's come around here. I may actually cut this out here, recess it down a little bit so my battery at least isn't, up against my seat here, and put that there. I mean, it's always something. And then for the fuel side, the fuel tank, I bought a fuel cell. I don't know if you can see it sitting out there. She's just, I think it's like a 12 gallon, 17 gallon, something like that fuel cell. I can't remember. I thought about just putting it in here, but I think I found another home for that fuel cell. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is cutting this box out here, putting a flat sheet up here, and then going with the Moto built underside tank. It's a pretty big tank, but it's made for 4-length JKU, so it'll fit up underneath there. Only part is it's about $1 million, and I'll be honest with you, I'm sort of working on this thing in seasons. It's like I spend money on it, and then I just really regret it, and then I just don't even look at it for a month or 2 or 3, and then I got some money saved up, burning a hole in the pocketbook. So what do? You blow it on the Jeep. So give it a month or 2. Christmas is coming up. I don't know. Depends on any Black Friday deals, what kind of deals they have. I may buy it then. I haven't bought it yet. My goal is to get this thing running by the first of the year, though. At least drivable, moving under its own weight. As well as you guys know, these things are never complete or finished, but drivable, I'd be happy with. So we do got the JB Conversions slip yoke eliminator kit for this, what is it, DLD 241 DLD transfer case with a slip yoke on the back. So we're gonna eliminate this. I bought a 1350 flange, I think it is. Yeah, 1350 rear output flange for the back of this, real similar to the front. So it's sitting over there on the shelf. I've just got to tear into that. I've had this for about 2 months now. This thing has sit here for about 2 months. I just need to get to it. I have made quite a bit more progress on this thing in the last month, though, than I have in probably the last 6 months. So, excuse me. I'm able to actually roll it out of the garage now, back and forth and back. So that's good. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? The motor mounts, just a hodgepodge of some tubing that I had laying around, a couple bushings that I had laying around. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Oh, don't look at that weld. My goodness, let's look at this one. This one don't look much better, but let's zoom on out. Pretend like we didn't see that. Jeez Louise, that's probably my first weld I ever made, to be honest with you. I'll be honest. I'll be surprised if you guys don't just see me in the obituary about a week after getting this thing on the road for it killing me. I hope not. Probably shouldn't have said that. That's a bad omen. On the bright side, with full hydraulic steering, I'm about half terrified to even drive it on the road, to be honest with you. But just something don't sit right with me about the steering input. Comes out of the steering shaft, goes into that mechanism, and then after that, there is nothing mechanical tying the steering shaft to the wheels other than some hydraulic lines. That sort of scares me a little bit. I do farm for a living, though, so pretty much 99.9% of the equipment we drive daily up down the road at 35 mile an hour is full hydraulic steering. So honestly, I've never given problems. So I say that tomorrow I got to go spray, probably blow a hydraulic line and wrap our sprayer around a tree. But I mean, I guess as long as you don't get above 30 mile an hour, you should be able to stop before you hit something terribly bad. So yeah, there she is in all of her glory. It's actually sitting on its full weight. I put these in this past weekend, got all this mocked up, so now it's sitting back on it. It was sitting on those jack stands up there for about a year. So I was pretty stoked to be able to push it outside and just clean the floor of the garage right here. It hadn't had a good broom under the tires in a year, I would say. So we're getting close. Not close enough. Maybe I'll do some more work and get you some videos of working. I don't know. Do you guys like seeing people work on their stuff? Sometimes I enjoy working on this thing, and sometimes I just do it to get it done. I don't know. Hit it down in the comments. Let me know if you want to see me work on this thing. I mean, hey, for all that, we'll work on it right now. Got the grill shell here. Let's just, there, she's in place. I'm only kidding. That's not how it goes at all. I probably just broke every remainder clip that wasn't already broke is probably broke now. So there we go. We got the grill cover back on. Some of you guys like the black. I hate it. I'd like it to be white, but the last Nepson that messed with this thing, Rhino lined it, I think it may be factory. I doubt it very highly because it looked like they would have took this off to do that. Nobody is that particular. I don't know, maybe. That's odd. I'm gonna say it's aftermarket. But yeah, there she is. I mean, it's not much clearance in there. I've seen some people say, I didn't have to cut the firewall, didn't have to do no beating, baiting, bashing in, 12 valve fit in there. This cocksucker wasn't fitting in here without cutting the firewall out. I can promise you. I mean, look right here. The foot pedal is resting on the starter. Not really, there's a little bit of clearance, but there's not gonna be much when I put my sheeting in here. So throttle's gonna be there. We're gonna have about inch and a half of travel before it hits the firewall. So gotta come up through here, come out here, and then I gotta figure something out. Where's the turbo going? Is it going in the passenger's floorboard, or is it coming out the hood, or is it going just straight out the bottom, or where's it going? Let's just put it in the passenger's lap. Let them deal with it. It'll be just a mechanical heater that runs constantly with a little bit of smoke. So yeah. There she is. All right, guys, my phone is showing me that I am out of storage. So we got to wrap this thing up. I don't know if you can tell or not. I've got this new gimbal thing here that I really bought for work, and it's pretty cool. I got to say. Yeah, there we go, though. I don't even remember what all I touched on now, but I mean, there's not a lot to it. I've still got a list of stuff to do up here. I've got the shock tower, steering, fuel pump, wiring. Oh, yeah, wiring. Geez, I don't got a lick of wire. No taillights, not a stinking thing. No insurance. No, I'm just kidding. As crazy as it sounds, I do have insurance. I do have tags. I just paid the freaking tags on it actually yesterday. Intercooler piping, coilovers, transfer case, slip yoke limiter, add oil to trans is empty, fabricate dash, firewall fab, oil change, U-joints and drive shafts. I've got new U-joints. I don't have drive. I've got U-joints for the front axle, no drive shafts. Got to get those made at some point. Trans cross member, trans mount, body lift. I don't think I'm going to body lift it. I was thinking about body lifting it about an inch just to give me a little bit more clearance right there, but screw it. We're just going to make it very easily. So if I ever have to work on that, I'll just take the tub off, pull the 6 bolts out, undo the steering, the brake lines. I'm going to do all the electrical to where it's just a quick like disconnect, like a what's that called, a Dutched plug, something like that, some funky word. And then maybe the radiator. I'm trying to think. Fuel lines, maybe. We'll do some quick disconnects and just boop, pull the cab off. I bought a lift a year or two ago, sitting outside there, a 2-post lift. Dummy me, I thought it would fit in here. My ceilings are not quite 12-foot ceilings though. So just a brand new Challenger lift sitting outside. So maybe we'll build a shop at some point and get the old tube bender out of the floor, get all this junk cleaned up, maybe finish the garage, and get all this stuff put in the shop. My wife would sure love it. Maybe not. All right. Don't pay attention to all this trash. We're here for the Jeep. All right, it's been 17 minutes of me talking. See you, bye.